Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to a regional director. Do you have any idea what a regional director does? Well, neither do I. But hey, let's start with this guy and find out. Let me introduce our next guest, the one, the only, the amazing David Blacklock.
Thank you for letting me be on your show. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, so you are listed as the regional director of Seniors versus Crimes. Well, can you explain to the listeners exactly what that means?
Well, it means I oversee operations in various offices throughout 1/5 of the state of Florida. And these offices work on trying to recover money for seniors who have been cheated by businesses or individuals. And I think it's a wonderful thing I do, that I'm able to be over these offices and help them do the right thing.
Okay, so how do you help seniors attack or stop crime?
Well, actually, the seniors that we work with, we tell them about crimes, but most of all, we're concerned about civil issues. There's a difference between civil wrongs and criminal wrongs. A civil wrong is like someone cheats you in a car dealership, and that's called civil, and the state doesn't care about that. Okay. Now, someone smacks you in the face, that's a criminal matter. And the state will prosecute that person based on your statements. So we don't do anything about physical attacks or thefts or anything like that. If we get those kind of things to us, we refer it to law enforcement. Mm-hmm. What we do are the things where a business cheated a person or misrepresented something.
Okay, so why did you decide to get into this business?
Well, I was a police sergeant on Orlando Police Department, and so I was predisposed to want to do something where you help people. And so I did various other jobs, and then my wife saw an article in the paper about Seniors versus Crime, a regional director. That was back in 2001. So wow. I tried for it, and I got it. So it was great. And then all I was told to do is go out there and do good things for seniors. Great, I can do that.
Well, does that mean that the seniors are armed?
No, they can't be armed. No, we don't let them be armed. We let them work in an office, and it's pretty safe. So, and usually if they're in a law enforcement facility, they don't need to have guns to protect themselves. So, no, They don't have guns. Good question.
So, what are some of the most common challenges that you run into when helping seniors, and how do you resolve them?
Well, I think, let's see, they tend to wait a long time before complaining. So they might contact us maybe 3 months after they've been cheated. Well, it's kind of cold then. Yeah. But that's the way it is. So that's a problem. We like to get the word out. I'm so grateful that you put me on your show so I can talk to people and tell them about Seniors versus Crime, because maybe somebody out there or someone's parent has had an issue and maybe been cheated or felt wrong somehow. Well, they can always write to us, and we'll help them at no cost whatsoever.
Okay. So what kind of issues can a senior contact you for?
Well, almost anything involving money. We like the cold, hard cash. If someone's being wronged and it can be interpreted by terms of money, then we'll probably get involved. Now, if someone needs medical advice, or they need to get their medicines better, or they're having trouble keeping their home, that's not us. Those are warm and fuzzy things. We don't do warm and fuzzy. We do cold, hard cash. So the things that we can contact us about is anything involving money.
Okay. So do you put the bad guys in jail or just make them pay a fine?
Well, it's civil, so we don't do that. What we do is we listen to the senior telling us his problem, and then after that, we contact the guy who wronged him and said, this is what someone told me. So, for example, the senior says, when we always ask them, senior, what do you want us to do? So a senior might say, well, I want this businessman drawn and quartered by a team of horses and then scattered to the winds. And so we'll write that down. And we talk to the bad guy, or we talk to the guy who did the wrong, and we'll say, well, our complainant would like you drawn and quartered and by a team of horses and then thrown to the winds. And you'll say, but we'll do exactly what he says, and then we try to follow it up. And we end up making a compromise between what the senior wants and what the person who wronged him did. So we end up making deals, essentially, and it works out to everyone's benefit.
Yeah, you make the Eighth Amendment correct. You gotta use no unusual punishments or bit jail times.
Yeah, no, we don't do that. The criminal, if they were criminal, there'd be jail time and fines.
Yeah. So is there a limit of how much money the loss has to be?
Yes.
Really?
It's got to be more than a penny. A penny or more. A penny or more, we'll do it. We do cases that involve $10, $5, $1,000, $100,000.
Wow.
$300,000 we've had cases, and we love to work on those cases. So it's just a lot of fun.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
So, do you take the calls yourself, or do you oversee people that do most of that stuff?
Oh, I oversee people who do all that stuff. I don't do any of the calls myself. I delegate it to my deputy regional director in the south offices, or I might delegate it to one of my offices up in the northern part of Florida, and the managers make the decisions about what to do. And so they know what to do. They're well trained on procedure and how to do things right. So I just delegate it, and then I'll check. And then I visit offices like I did today. I visited an office in Volusia County, and I want to find out how they're doing. Are they following the right procedures? Are they doing what we do elsewhere in the state, so we treat everybody the same? That's part of my job.
Okay. So what's the best part about being a regional director of Senior versus Crime?
Well, it's helping people. It is a real joy to help people and help them get their life back or get their quality of life. It's just that when we do something good for them, these people will come to the office and they'll give us hugs. And I saw a woman come in once and gave a guy a kiss. So, and they bring cakes and cookies, and they'll say, "Oh, thank you. Can we donate to you?" No, okay. So they're just really grateful, and I just love that. So every time my offices get stories like that, I said, "Please send it to me." So I get it sent to me, like the written thank you for everything, or they brought in cakes and cookies, and I take all that and I send it to my boss, the executive director of Seniors versus Crime, who's in Tampa, a former major of the Vermont State Police. So really nice guy. And so he's always grateful to get these wonderful things about things that our offices are doing. Nice. I mean, he always sends them his own personal note saying thank you very much.
Now, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back here talking with David Blacklock. David works with Seniors versus Crime. He's also a retired police officer. Okay, so, did you decide to help seniors fight crime because you used to be in law enforcement?
That had a lot to do with it, actually, because in law enforcement, you deal with people who are not so good. They're criminals. They're on the bad side of the law, and they don't like us. So all of my career, I was working with people who doesn't like me, don't appreciate anything I'm doing for them. It was very seldom we could, unless we gave a talk to a group of people, then they say, "Well, thank you for showing up and talking to us about things." But generally, I didn't get a lot of kudos by being a police officer. So came this opportunity to work with seniors, and I thought, sounds like we might be able to do some good, and I might enjoy it. And I really have enjoyed it.
Okay, that's good. So what is more fun, working as a police officer or helping seniors?
Well, for me, it's helping seniors. I worked as a police officer. It was a great job. I loved everything I did, but I like this more. It's just more rewarding to help people.
Okay. So do you have to do a lot of training to do this type of work?
I don't think so. We've got all kinds of regional directors and managers. We just need people who can think rationally, who are not swayed easily, who are morally correct. It's very important that all of our people have a strong moral compass. And so as long as they do those things, we're happy, and they usually do the right thing.
Okay. Now, my dad says that you restore civil wrongs. Can you explain exactly what is a civil wrong?
Well, we right civil wrong. So let's say your dad hired someone to paint a house, to paint all four sides of the house, and they pay the guy $4,000, and looked like he did a good job. But 1 week later, the paint's fallen off one wall, and so the senior says, "Well, you did the job. Why don't you come back and fix it?" "Oh no, I'll come back and fix it, but I'm going to charge you another $1,000. Well, that doesn't seem right. So the senior might complain to us, and they'll say, help me out. And we'll talk to the painter, and usually what the painter will do is they'll go back and redo the job they should have done at no charge to our complaining party. So that's kind of how we make people whole. We just step in to try to do the right thing.
Okay. Well, are there seniors that you can't help?
Yeah. Some senior might say, my doctor took off the wrong toe. Now that's medical malpractice. We don't get involved in any kind of medical malpractice. Now, if the doctor did a billing error and the guy complained about the billing error, we can get involved because that's about cold hard cash, and we like cold hard cash. So that's one example of something we can't help. Other things we can't help are people who want to get a divorce, things like that. We stay out of that.
Okay. Now, I know that a senior is an older person, but is there an age limit?
Not really, but we tend to accept people as volunteers to work with us who are over 55 years old. I'm not a good example. I'm 79. But we have a lot of people who are getting elderly. The office I visited today, I believe the woman there running it, I think she's 81 years old and doing a fantastic job. Really good. I'm so impressed with her.
Wow. So how many people do you have to oversee?
It changes as we get new volunteers, but I think right now it's about 50 people. Yeah, that's manageable.
So if you're giving seniors their money back, how do you get money? Do you get a cut?
Oh, how do I get money? Oh, how does the Seniors versus Crime get money?
How do you get money?
I get money because Seniors versus Crime is a nonprofit under contract to the Attorney General's office to do good things. And so the things we do are, one, we might help the Attorney General with a sting operation by giving them actors to play the part. We've done that many times. We might, we do good things by educating the public about scams and fraud. And the last thing we do is we try to get their money back after they've been cheated. So that's how they do it. Now, we get our money to operate through the Attorney General's office under contract. So essentially they say, you spend the money, send us your receipts, and we'll reimburse you. So I have a manager going out to make a presentation at a place, and he's allowed to be paid back for his mileage going to that or any supplies he used. So all the volunteers get reimbursed. Nothing's out of their pocket. And that's thanks to the Attorney General.
Nice. So about how much do you get back to seniors every year?
Well, that's very accurate. We give almost exactly $2 million a year to seniors across the state of Florida. And that's just amazing to me that we're able to do that. But consistently, it's about $2 million, and that's just great.
Okay. Now, my dad says you also do training and education. What types of classes do you hold?
Well, we do training and education for our volunteers to train them how to do things right, how to investigate a case, how to do the interview, how to gather facts, how to record the facts. Those are the kind of things that I do. But other than that, we make presentations out in the public. Like, say, a church wants us to come and give a talk. We'll talk about whatever they want. They want credit card theft, they want identity theft, whatever it is they want, we try to help them with that.
So, how do you plan to expand seniors versus crime in the next few years?
Oh, good question. We tend to have at least one office in a county if we can. So I want to expand into Osceola and Duval County. That's Jacksonville. I would like to be able to do that because we get cases from Jacksonville, but I have them worked by someone in Nassau County. It's really better to have someone in Jacksonville. So I've been looking to get a church to say, give us some office space. Like in Volusia County, they're in a Lutheran church, and it works really well. So if I could do that, that would expand what I'm doing, and I can help more people.
Okay. So what's the hardest part about working in this field?
I can't think of anything hard about working in the field. It's just a joy. I mean, I have a lot of control over what I do and how I do it.
Nothing's hard in the job?
Not really hard. I mean, it's time consuming, and certainly we have to deal with computers a lot, but there's nothing hard about it. I mean, hard was working on the police department. Hard was getting shot at.
Well, what's the craziest thing that's happened while you were doing your passion?
Oh, well, I can think of something one of the people did, the wrongdoers did. In the villages, there was a guy who would do lawns for people. He would cut their lawns and make it do a good job. And he would come to somebody's house unannounced, and he'd say, "Oh, I see your lawn needs some help. I'll be glad to cut your lawn for you and trim it and all that. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you a special deal. You give me $800, and I'll cut it now, and I'll come back and cut it every week and for a whole year." Wow, that's a great $800. That's cheap. So they would give me $800, and right there and then he would cut the grass and do a great job, and he would never come back again. Never come back again. And it was civil because he did what's known as partial fulfillment of the contract. The contract was to do a job. He did some of the work, so that's civil now, and you can't charge him criminally.
Yeah.
But he made a mistake. He kept doing it, and sometimes, 3 times, he did not do anything. He didn't cut the grass, he didn't pick up leaves, nothing. He did nothing. He took the $800, but he did absolutely nothing. Well, that now is criminal. So now we were able to refer it to law enforcement, and they put the guy in jail. And when he came out, he went right back to doing business, except this time he charged $900 instead of $800. Go figure.
Oh, goodness. Well, if someone wanted to work towards doing this for a living, what should they do first?
Well, helpful would be a law enforcement background. All of our command staff are law enforcement retired. We have sergeants, chiefs of police, majors. I'm a sergeant, was a sergeant. That's helpful because then we know the criminal side of things. So if things stray from the civil and it becomes criminal, we know it. And we train our people how to do it. So that's probably what helped me a little bit about going to do this. And what we do with people we train is we try to teach them about civil and criminal, all that good stuff.
Okay, so who can you say was the person that helped drive your passion the most?
I think my father.
Really?
Yeah, he taught me about right and wrong, about doing the right thing, being kind to others. There was a lot that he taught me, and I just really appreciated it. Even how to saw a board with a saw, and how to place my thumb so it doesn't get cut, or how to cut away from me and never toward me so I don't stab myself. Silly little things, but now that comes back to me, and
it helps, doesn't it?
It does. All those lessons that your dad tells you, it's just. You don't appreciate it when you're young.
Yeah.
When you get older, you say, "Wow, that was very insightful."
Like how to spark a fire.
Right. That's right. How to start a fire. That's right.
I still remember it. I still do.
Wow, that's
grab
great.
some steel wool, grab a striker, and start striking it.
Yeah, that's right. Steel wool is great for that.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So, can you provide an example of a situation that didn't go as planned, and what'd you learn from it?
It didn't go as planned. Well, I lost an office in Duval County. I had it for a while, and then because the sheriff needed the space, and because I couldn't keep a manager going, I was really disappointed in that. Yeah. And it just it went south, and I had to close the office. So that was a disappointment, but I get over it, and I've got other offices to work with now. Okay.
Well, what advice would you give to my listeners if they wanted to go up and work as a regional director?
Well, be rational, be honest, do the right things. That's about all, really. And if you have some kind of technical skill, like you being involved in construction or banking, those are helpful because then we have people who know what's going on when people complain. So that's really pretty good.
Okay. Well, what's the best advice that you have ever received?
I guess just doing the right thing. That's really all there is. I mean, that's the advice I got from being a police officer in Orlando Police. I mean, they always, if you lied as a police officer, you were fired. One lie and you were fired. So it was important to always do the right thing.
Never lie.
Yeah.
So what was the very first job you've ever had?
Oh, yes. When I was young, I rented out floating rafts on the beach. I lived on the beach. When I grew up in Fernandina Beach, a beach right in front, I used to always go out and play on the beach and go up and down. And, it was just fun. But the job I had was renting out rafts for people to go out and have fun on the water. It was good. It was good.
Did you get scammed by anyone?
No, not this time.
Really?
No, it just worked out great.
Okay, well, is there anything you learned from that job that helped you be a better regional director?
Just pay attention to the details. Follow the right process. That's all.
Okay. Well, what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
Look out for little things that happen to you in life when you're young, because those things will predispose you to a certain path. So, for example, when I was young, living in Scotland, I was visited by a distant relative from America, and he brought with him a Dick Tracy car and a Hopalong Cassidy outfit with 2 6-guns and leather chaps and a hat, and I would practice in front of the mirror, and I'd draw my guns and shoot toward the mirror. And that interest in doing righting wrongs got me, and a Dick Tracy car too. People doing the right thing. So years later, I came upon an opportunity to join the Orlando Police Department, and I jumped on it. And it was. I felt so much better about that than other things I could have done. So, I guess just that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills. And we're back here with Senior vs. Crime Regional Director David Blacklock. Now, David.
Yes.
What's the favorite part of your day?
My favorite part of the day is I've done everything, and I get to sit down with my wife and enjoy her company. She's a wonderful person, makes my life full, and that's the best part, is when I can just sit down and relax with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was that one case that you'll never forget?
I guess it's the same one that I told you about, the guy cutting the grass, because that was so poignant about how he tried to cheat people and then he got caught and he went to jail, and we like that.
Okay, well, now I know you because you're my grandfather. You were in the Air Force way before I was born. Thank you for your service.
Sure.
Did your time in the military prepare you for your work with Seniors vs. Crime?
Yes, it did. It prepared me for Seniors vs. Crime, and it certainly prepared me for being a police officer, because you took orders. And
Yeah.
you do what you're told, unless you can say that what you're telling me to do is against the law.
Yeah.
Other than that, you do as you're told. And so I learned very early on about discipline, doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. If it's unlawful or unconstitutional, you don't.
Yeah, you don't do it. That's right.
If you can go back 10 years and tell yourself something, what would it be?
Work out more, get in physical shape better. That's all I can think of. I've recently lost weight, and I feel so much better having lost that weight. And I work out at the gym, the YMCA. I lift heavy weights. I was lifted weights for a long time, but now that I've lost weight, everything's so much easier. So I would do that. I would say, get rid of the weight.
Yes. Well, what's the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
I really can't think of big mistakes that I've made. I don't have many regrets. Well, yeah, I do have one mistake I made. When I got out of high school, I was valedictorian of my class. thought I was pretty smart in a small class of 90 people. And I went to college, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a breeze going to college. No, it wasn't. It was not a breeze going to college. It was hard. It was really hard. Wow. And I didn't really try. After a while, I gave up. And I was eventually, I left college, and that's when I went into the service. Because originally I was going to be a civil engineer and get a 4-year degree. Yeah. Well, then I went into service, and had I stayed in the school and gotten a 4-year degree, I could have become an officer in the Air Force. Okay. But instead, I became a grunt, and I lifted heavy bombs that were dropped by fighter pilots on a range. And I would lift these 750-pound bombs onto a truck and load them back. So it was a very different role than what I could have done had I been smart and done the right thing.
So when you're not working, what do you do for fun?
Let's see. My wife and I watch English dramas, English murder mysteries, movies. Yeah, right. So that's what I like to do with that. And I don't play any video games, nothing like that. We just watch. I like Shakespeare. I like to watch things about Shakespeare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite book to read then?
My favorite book, it's Anthem. Anthem by Ayn Rand. She's long dead now. But what she wrote about in all of her novels was the individual against a collective state, where the individual had no rights, and the state felt that they owned everything, like in communism, socialism. So she was very much against that. So Anthem is a book that takes you into the future, and it shows you a dystopian future where the individuals have no rights and the people are made to do what the state tells them to do. And then, of course, there's conflict, and in that conflict is the plot of the show. What I particularly like about Anthem recently is that it's now available on YouTube. It's available as a cartoon, like a comic book. And it's easy for children to understand, I think. And I'd like some children to try to watch it and see it on YouTube, Anthem by Ayn Rand, and see what they think about it, because it walks you through this story of a guy trying to express his individuality. Really, really a great thing. It's the first book I read of Ayn Rand's. Then after that, I read all the other ones, too. They were just great books.
Okay. Can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid show. The one story, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
I can?
Yes, you can.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. I was young, 1 or 2 years old, and we were in Scotland on a farm, and I was let to go to play because there was no danger at all. Let's go play with the cows or something. So I walked out into the field, and my parents said, "Where are you?" And looking for me. So they came and found me in the field with the cows, and I was sitting in a cow flop, and I was picking it up and putting it in my mouth.
What's a cow flop?
Poop. So I was sitting in the middle of a poop flop, and I was scooping it up and eating it in my mouth. And my parents told me about that years later. I said, I don't have any memory of it, and I'm glad I don't have any memory of it. That was terrible.
Wow.
So I haven't told anybody that, so because you said I could tell you, I did.
Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you?
No, you've covered it very well. You've been very thorough in your questions, and I appreciate this opportunity to talk about seniors versus crime and me. And I'm really glad to have you as a grandson.
So if someone wants to complain about an issue or contact Seniors versus Crime, what is your Facebook or website for those listeners who wants to follow you?
Oh, Seniors versus Crime. SeniorsVersusCrime.com. And if you go there, you can volunteer, or you can make a complaint, or you can ask us to come out and give a talk to your group. So that's the easy way to do it. SeniorsVersusCrime.com.
Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
What is my favorite color?
What is your favorite color?
Red. Oh, no, green.
Well, thank you, David, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Okay.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about custom designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Tiberius's favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, David, for helping me with Math Corners. And this week, we're going to do some more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve. And today, we're going to talk about raising money.
Raising money. That's good.
Okay. So, the 7th grade class is organizing a fundraiser to support a local animal shelter. They plan to sell 2 types of items, chocolate bars and handmade bracelets. The goal is to raise at least $500 for the shelter. The chocolate bars cost $2 each, and the bracelets cost $3 each. They sold 100 chocolate bars and 80 bracelets. Did they reach their goal to save the puppies?
Well, we'd have to multiply the cost of the items by the number of items and add that up. And we got 2 of those. We'd add those 2 together, and then we'd see if they reach their goal of $500. But I can't do that in my head. So y'all need your help.
Okay, well, first, this is a real-world problem because there are tons of nonprofits that help animals that need funding. But usually they don't ask kids to do it. So it's really weird. But to solve this, you first have to figure out the total amount of money raised. So you have the equation: total raised equals 2 times chocolate sales plus 3 times bracelet sales. Well, now you have to put it in the values, which you get $2 times 100, which is $200, and then 3 times 80, which is $240. Then you add them together and you get $440. It's a lot of money, but not enough to reach their goal. I guess the puppies have to starve and have to try again tomorrow.
Well, that's a good math question. That's good.
So, David, did you raise money for charity when you were in school?
No. They do it nowadays, but when I was in school, I graduated from high school in 1961. We didn't do those kind of things. We just stayed attention to our courses and play sports, and that was about it.
Wow.
So no, we didn't do any raising for charity.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. How do you use math in your work?
Oh, well, in my job, I have to do spreadsheets and use spreadsheets to calculate numbers that we end up reporting to my boss, 1, and 2, they get sent to the Florida Attorney General, so that we can show that we have the numbers that proves we met our measurable objectives, and therefore they will continue to keep us employed. So I use the numbers a lot. But I use the computer to calculate things for me after I put in the formulas.
Well, thank you so much, David, for your help with Math Corners.
Sure.
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of the Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right, even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. This week at school, I witnessed Zoe, a classmate, displaying remarkable integrity. During a test, she found a stray answer key on the floor. Instead of using it to her advantage, she immediately brought it to the teacher's attention. Zoe explained that she wanted to earn her grades honestly and believed in the importance of integrity. Her actions taught me that doing the right thing, even when no one else is watching, is a crucial aspect of being a person of integrity. It made me realize that honesty and responsibility are values worth upholding, even in the face of temptation. So it could have been a test of integrity, and if so, Zoe passed with flying colors. So David, did you use integrity at all this week?
Every day. Sure, I do that. Yeah, I really like what you said about integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. That's really well said.
Well, of all of the Heart of Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Truthfulness. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we should always try and be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
I suppose so, yeah.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing David Blacklock for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about seniors versus crime and the work that you do.
Oh, thank you. I really enjoyed it being here. Thank you.
Do you mind giving your social media and website again for those people who want to follow Seniors versus Crime?
We don't have a Facebook, but we do have a website, and that's seniorsversuscrime.com. So anyone can go there and look at what we're all about. We certainly want people to see what we're about.
I'm sure. Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490 AM, KN 1998, Soul Radio 24/7, Easy Way TV, and all the other stations that air my show. Please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. David, have you subscribed yet?
I have. I'm a subscriber.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, and leave a comment if you want to work in fighting crime. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.